In all my books and in all my projects, I'm really trying to help kids learn how to change their own lives. And that is not a spectator sport. You have to get involved. I wanted to do this trip, and I wanted to reach kids who had never met a children's book author.
When I was contacted by Sue about the Tillie ride, she told me she happened to see a postcard of a famous lady rider way back when, and that's where her creative juices came out. Well, I could write a book about this. Well, after this book is written, then Sue comes to me and says, well, we would like to get some kids involved and kick off this book and do some things, so how can we put this all together?
So I thought to myself, what for me is the thing that I don't feel like I can overcome? And I knew it had to be something athletic, because that is my feeling of weakness, my feeling of fear. Because she was a bicycle rider, I thought, okay, I'll ride my bike. And because she was from Chicago and I was in Grand Rapids, I thought, okay, I'll ride my bike from Grand Rapids to Chicago. So I recruited my husband, Roger, to plan the route. We needed a bicyclist, like somebody who really knew, because Roger wasn't a bicyclist either. And so a friend of ours, Bob Johnson, who is a very experienced cyclist, agreed to come along. And I asked like 1,000 kids to send me letters and emails and tell me how they overcame a really difficult challenge. The first day, when we actually arrived at the school, the momentum had built. These children were looking at me like I was Tillie Anderson. I was dressed like Tillie Anderson.
This is what Tillie would wear. And the reason that she put this flag around her waist is because she was from Sweden.
I remember Sue came up and carrying her bike, dressed up as a bike rider, and my kids are looking and they're saying, this is a lady who's gonna do this. The Tillie book, there's bike riding, there's struggles, there's people saying you can't do something, which to me, I want my kids to say, when somebody says you can't do something, think of how we can work at this, maybe to change their mind.
I got to the end of Riverside Park, which is about 2 miles, and that's when we were going to say goodbye to the kids. And there's Dave Heiser, and he's saying to the kids, tell her she can do it. She needs you to encourage her. And so they're hugging me and telling me I can do it, and I'm thinking, I can do this, I can do it. My big hope for the kids in actually seeing us come was this idea that we rode our bikes there. This wasn't easy for us to get to you. And I think that when we would ride our bikes up, we look sort of like a ragtag bunch of, we're not professional cyclists by any means, and the kids could see, as we're stumbling off our bikes and trying to hike them into the auditorium, they could see, wow, this was hard. We underwent this journey to meet you because each of you has a sense of self-worth and potential, and we're coming here to encourage you to explore, discover, to go ahead and be afraid, but don't let that fear stop you. One of the things that I try to teach kids is to dream, is to try to identify what is the thing that you feel so passionate about, that you would be willing to sacrifice the way Tillie sacrificed to achieve her dream. There was something about it, I don't know, it was the very midpoint of the trip for us, and when we walked into that particular school, the kids had been encouraged to write their dreams on bike helmets. We were struck by these young children dreaming, thinking big, thinking, what can I do with my life?
When you would do a book, you can read about them, talk about them, but when you can actually get the author to come in and you could see this is the person who put these words down on print. I think that's real important.
We rode our bikes 250 miles. We visited 8 schools and met more than 1,000 kids. And we showed them what it means to do something you think you can't do. By being a big part of the success of our trip, they now know that if they take on a big challenge, there are things they can do to make it a success. Kids can dream big, just like Tillie Anderson. They can overcome obstacles like I did. And when they get that, their dreams go beyond fantasy and become achievable and real.